Agritech Live. Agritech Live has been a platform ideally started on WhatsApp almost 2 years, more than 2 years back, uh, with a lot of like-minded people who wanted to think about how they can help migrant labor across the nation in coming back to the nature, coming back to their villages, and building the nation at the grassroots level. A raw thought, but as time progressed, we had many ideas, many thoughts. Still, the team is brainstorming about those ideas, and uh, still the team is discussing on those facts, how we can run grassroots level projects, which will be effectively bringing back migrant labor from cities and from fabricated world to back to the natural world. That's a few words quickly about Agritech Life. I don't want to take time because we are beyond 10 minutes of our schedule. Um, at this time today, we are invited person for the talk is Dr. SPS Beniwal. Um, a word about him before that. I have invited Dr. Beniwal from Asian Agri History Foundation, which is a non-profit organization established from 1994 by Dr. Y.L. Bene. Um, and they are primarily, in one quick word, they are about nature. They are about how, everything, be it into animal husbandry, be it into farming, be it into food production, how everything can come back to nature at the grassroots level. So I'm sure Beniwal sir would expound about that as the talk proceeds. A word about Dr. Beniwal, the most suitable person to talk to us on this matter, with more than 4 decades of experience in the agri sector. He is a PhD in plant pathology. He has previously worked as regional coordinator for Central Asia and Caucasus, and also as head for CGIAR Facilitation Center, ICARDA in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. So you have also worked at GBPU and Agriculture and Technology. I trust that is Pantnagar and ICRISAT in India, and as well as for various roles of ICARDA in Ethiopia, Morocco, etc. And for quite a few years, Dr. Beniwal is working as a consultant. So I'm sure his rich experience is what listen to. Agri history of India, its impact on Asian world, especially with respect to natural organic farming. With those few words, I would call upon Dr. Beniwal. Please come forward and take on the presentation. So since we have taken, we have started a bit late, we can go up till 8:40. I just wanted to keep you informed on that. May I request every member to mute themselves, except for Dr. Beniwal? May I request every participant to mute themselves, because that will be a hindrance to the speaker. Beniwal sir, over to you.
Okay, thank you.
You can load your presentation as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roy Thomas. First of all, I would like to express my thanks to Agritech Live for inviting me to deliver this lecture for Agritech Live and their members. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Roy Thomas for coordinating the arrangements for this talk, which I very much appreciate. I would like to highlight that although the topic does say about Asia and the world, but my emphasis would be more on Asia and especially India, where I come from. However, there will be information, there will be messages for our friends in the other parts of the world, including the US, because the knowledge that is there, that has been there in our ancient times and medieval times in agriculture is indeed full of wisdom. I hope the messages here would help transform the lives of, as Mr. Thomas mentioned, the lower strata people. And that is also one of the objectives of the foundation, our foundation, to help the smallholder or the marginal farmers, especially in some states, and Uttarakhand state where the University of Pantnagar is located is one where a lot of out-migration has happened, which has been a cause of concern for the state. And these are some of the ways that we have found that we can help the farmers increase their income with low input agriculture, which is possible by following the age-old tested methodology or technology. Our agriculture heritage, when I say our, means Asian, and especially Indian agriculture heritage, has been really full of wisdom. And we know that since Rigveda time, that agriculture has been, there has been very clearly mentioned in the Rigveda, and it was the main industry of the ancient Hindus. Therefore, Indian agriculture could sustain itself for a long period of time and could provide food security. And this was possible in spite of the onslaught that was brought to India by outside invaders. There is a paradox here that the farmers in India, in fact, previously it was some, and now it is many, especially the smallholder ones, follow these ancient medieval practices in many regions of India. And unfortunately, the graduates or the young staff employed in agriculture, research, teaching, and development are not very familiar of this wisdom that has been available with us, and they seem to be ignorant. The situation has to change. ICR has tried to, the Indian Council of Agriculture Research has tried to document the traditional agriculture practices. So there are about five volumes available now, which show how traditional practices are being used by the farmers in different states of India. I would like to highlight that before 1996, when the first publication from AHF came out, and that was on Vraksha Ayurveda, the science of the plant life applied to the science of Ayurveda applied to plants, Vraksha Ayurveda. Before that, no original texts of ancient and medieval Indian agriculture were available. And this was the first time that, thanks to the foundation, that such work was able to be carried out. There are foundation, especially as Dr. Thomas himself mentioned about late Dr. Weil Nene, who founded the foundation in 1994, and in fact sought 5-year early retirement to devote full time to this activity, which was very close to his heart. Thanks to his efforts, we have 10 ancient classics on agriculture brought out. They were in Sanskrit, or in other Persian, or other local Indian languages. So first, the challenge was to find them, locate them, because nobody knew where they are. And therefore, when Raksha Veda, the first one that was translated and printed in 1996, many found that it was in Oxford Library. And only one copy was available, microfiche, so he got it and then got the translation done and got it printed in 1996. Few of them I would like to mention briefly. Krishi Parashara, 400 BC, the first introductory textbook of agriculture. Why a textbook? Because the book has chapters for different topics or subjects, and very nicely discussed prediction of rainfall, tools, implements, plows. Very important, which is very relevant today, is importance of good management in agriculture for both crops and animals. The information provided is extremely useful and can be used very nicely in the modern times. He was very emphatic on seed, that seed has very important place, and he says the origin of plentiful yield is the seed. Raksha Ayurveda I mentioned earlier. This was written by Ved Surpala, 1000, I should say BCA, not AD now. And very nicely, the book describes several aspects of agriculture that is so relevant today. Nourishment, fertilizer. First, biofertilizer to the world was described in this book only. And you can understand its implications and how even the Western world benefited from this. There is discussion on plant protection in detail, seeding planting material, its treatment, and also describes so many herbs that are of so much value, especially for making biopesticides today. This is the person that I must pay tribute to late Dr. Vailnane, who devoted 25 years of his life to unearth ancient wisdom on agriculture. An excellent teacher, researcher, great visionary, and agricultural historian. I mean, he's considered certainly authority on agricultural heritage of India. The last contribution from him was a table book on chronology of Indian agriculture. And not only us, but many others believe that he can be considered as Parashara or Surapala of modern India. Together with him, I would also like to mention our past chairman, Dr. Chaudhary, who very closely worked with him and made very good contributions, especially in practical aspects of the work and also in translation of the English textbook, English books to Hindi. Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary. What impacts our history, every history has had on Asia and the world? I would like to mention the name of Sir Herb Albert Howard when he came to India and what he observed about Indian agriculture at that time. And his observations are described in his book, An Agricultural Testament. Some observations, just to give an idea, that villages are surrounded by a zone of fertile land, which is constantly over-manured through compost by people, life to soil, which increases water holding capacity, magic for rain-fed agriculture. Look at the word he used, magic. If you follow that, your crops will be protected from wild droughts for 15, 20 days. And he considered that as rational system of farming. Even in my childhood, I could see in the village, in my village, only the mixed crops. Maize would be having so many crops, not only sole crop of maize. That was the style of agriculture at that time, which, as you know, has on its advantages. And interestingly, we decided to pursue the system, and which turned out to be an originator of organic farming. See what implications it had, what impact it had. So you can see the past agri history has provided good glimpse of how India was able to have sustainable agriculture for such a long time. It has certainly created awareness among the not only farmers but also scientists and policymakers of Asia and world, especially India. And the fermented biofertilizer mentioned earlier in Raksha Ayurveda by Vaidya Surupala was a gift to the world. And later, Dr. Weil Nene modified this to herbal Konab Jala by including the natural growing weeds in it, which nature has provided that, like all human beings have different kinds of qualities, so the plants also in nature will have some quality or the other. Some will have fungicidal properties, some will have insecticidal properties, some even may have herbicidal properties. And tremendous potential has shown in use natural and organic farming, especially for the smallholders or marginal farmers. This information is now being used by the smallholder marginal farmers, mostly of their own, because they realize that with the rise of the high inputs to the agriculture, although the yields have increased, but simultaneously the high input costs have increased, therefore the net profits did not really improve as much as they should have. And this is where this kind of information, knowledge, or wisdom becomes very handy. And this one can improve, use it in improving agriculture anywhere in India. This wisdom could be successfully applied to changing the direction of post-green revolution agriculture that we talk about so much in India, for betterment of soil, environment, natural and organic farming situations. And for more importantly, self-reliance of smallholder marginal farmers, because that category, they are leaving the villages to the cities, which is a very bad situation for any country to observe that. Here I would like to say one thing with reference to our neighbor Sri Lanka and see what happened. Yes, you know, like their tea industry used to be very prominent. And what happened? They declared that they will go organic agriculture way without making enough preparations, without ensuring that there should be system available which can protect the crop from all the factors that affect agriculture. And the result is well known to all of us. Konab again here. Why it is called Konab? Because Kunpa in Sanskrit means smelling like a dead body or stinking smell, very smelly. And then probably when he boiled the animal waste, bones and bone marrow and blood and fish, what have you, in water, must have smelled like a very, very bad, stinking smell. Therefore, he had to bury that pot, and that's how he developed Konab by adding several other components into it. These are the components that are commonly used in making or preparing herbal Konab. Rest is For small farmer, taking a 200-liter drum and having these components, cow dung, cow urine, jaggery for fermentation, germinated oat bean, oil cake, rice husk water. You can add ghee and milk if you have it. Otherwise, local wheats, herbs, 20 kilogram, and then it has to be tightened and fermented. This illustrates how this is done and different components. What is the advantage of herbal gulab jal? Let's have briefly look at it. It's a fermented biofertilizer made from local constituents. What does it mean? Fermentation will break down the complex proteins, carbohydrates, fats into the smallest units, which would be easily taken up by the roots of the plants. It is similar to like the soup being provided to patients in hospital, so that the patient system will quickly absorb all the nutrients in soup rather than eating solid food. It's very good for soil nourishment, fertility, improving organic matter, water holding capacity. It's excellent for plant nourishment, promotes growth, and enhances reproduction, and also extends the period of reproduction, which has been specifically observed in vegetable crops, because the period of fruiting continues if you apply this kind of liquid biofertilizer. And it can control insect pests, diseases, because it has those, herbs and weeds. It has also been observed to protect crops from frost and also from limited drought. It's very easy to prepare. It is very low cost, and there is a lot of flexibility in its preparation. And it can be used in several different ways because it's liquid. It can be used with several different irrigation systems without any problem. And it's very useful for low input farming, which will increase net profit and sustainability. In fact, it indeed is a super organic liquid fertilizer. Now, the topic, the important words are natural farming and organic farming. Natural farming, a lot of discussions, a lot of talk on this, and as you all know that natural farming approach, which is guided by the nature, a natural approach of farming, hardly least interference by the farmers, and natural biodiversity together with it plays important role in living microorganisms. It's as indicated by Fukuoka in 1975, ecological farming. And Fukuoka, many of you must have heard and read his book, One Straw Revolution. The important components of natural farming are what they were being followed in our ancient and medieval times by agriculture farmers: mulching, green manuring, intercropping or mixed cropping, multi-layering cropping, native seed varieties, because least interference from the farmer. Also, no plowing or no tilling, no tillage, and therefore so that it is very close to the nature. Now, according to Indian belief, we used to believe, and I remember in my childhood, it used to be like that the farmers produce crop would be like kind of assigned 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. 1/3 belonged to the farmer, and the second 1/3 belonged to all the dependents who are there in the village on him. You can call different kinds of artisans who are living in village depending on the farmers farming. Therefore, they're also being supported by our farmers. And the remaining one third of the crop crop residues must go to the soil, which is giving us all the yield, good crops. And this is what is not happening now, because people want to do monocropping, people want to take 3 crops in a year. So what is the time that you can put the crop residues into soil, follow green manuring, follow mulching, so that will add to the soil and produce organic matter. Organic farming is a holistic approach which maximizes the production, fitness of diverse communities in the agroecosystem, soil microorganisms, plants, livestock, people. And the primary objective is to create agriculture businesses which are both sustainable and environmentally favorable. Sustainable is very important from the perspective of farmer, that it should be valid for longer time, it should be economically profitable and environmentally favorable. If you look some of the similarities between natural and organic farming systems, both are chemical free. They restrict farmers for using chemical fertilizer, recommend using native seeds, breeds, native cultivars, both the system. And both should use non-chemical and homemade pest control solutions, that is by pesticides. What are the differences? We all know this, that organic fertilizers, manures, compost, vermicompost, carbon manure are used in organic farming. Natural farming does not use even organic fertilizers in the soil. It should all come from naturally from the residues, plant residues from the soil system. You don't have to add anything. No plowing, mixing manure, weeding, other agro activities are permitted in natural farming, but they're okay. They're good in organic farming. And in natural farming, there's no plowing, no soil tilling, no fertilizer, no weeding, etc. And this is where the challenge is as to how to maintain the productivity and keep the grain production to meet the requirements of a country like India, where the mouths are increasing, and therefore you cannot sacrifice the yields so much so that you are looking for grain for your population yourself. Natural farming, certainly low-cost farming, because there are hardly any inputs, and it molds with wildlife. Organic farming is still costlier due to the necessity of bulk manures and has an ecological footprint on the surroundings. Here I would like to raise a question as to what we should be doing. We should be doing what is best for the interests of the farmer and the country. That is, that don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't, ecologists or green people will always vouch for, oh, natural farming. But one should be practical, follow pragmatic approach so that we are able to meet these requirements satisfactorily. Yes, we should be having good agroecology, but together with that, we have to have reasonable yield levels so that we have enough food reserves. How the practices of Praksha Ayurveda are relevant today and could be used in meeting the requirements of organic farming, specifically. The foundation started validation of the information, the knowledge in Vector Ayurveda from Arunachal Pradesh Tea State, 2000 to 2004 to 2005, and the report came out in 2006 on the experiences. Very good experience, very useful. The information which is mentioned in Vector Ayurveda book, it is really valid, it is applicable. All you need to do is how to use it, how to modify it according to your needs. The tea gardens of Darjeeling and Doers in West Bengal started the work in 2008 and did very good piece of work. It became very popular, and I'll be talking a little bit later. Different crops of small farmers in Kerala. The work was initiated in 2016, going on very well. Again, I will briefly touch upon that. These, practices in Ayurveda, which successfully replace modern high input use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides without much problem, and can provide pesticide-free as far as possible with higher organic yields, which has been validated by others. What is required is a strong justification for their usefulness for smallholder farmers who are now hit the hardest, as you know, and are forced to leave their place. This is the book report that came out of the experiences of 2004 to 5 in Arunachal Pradesh. The tea industry in northern West Bengal, Darjeeling, Goa, is very important economically. We had some very good success in identifying the dieback disease and then controlling it with the rhododendron concoction based on the Berkshire way principles. Rhododendron is highly effective against fungicide fungal diseases, and it is a commonly grown weed everywhere in northern India. Everywhere it is grown here, and all you need to do is make concoction and use it. This is the guy we have, Mr. Vijay Pramar, who has been instrumental in helping the gardens in Darjeeling, Doas, and excellent cooperator. In Kerala, the work has been going on since 2006. All the usual activities of training the farmers, establishing farmers' field schools, proving that it has tremendous potential for smallholder farmers. Now, I'm very happy to say that every panchayat of Kerala has its use in field, vegetable, and flower crops. Incredible achievement from every perspective. And now this is popular as Vedic farming, and person responsible is Mr. Videsh of Ministry of Agriculture. From Kerala, the training activities are best is to train the ladies because they can prepare it very patiently, easily. Here on the left, this is a fig tree, and see how much productivity it has increased. Also, I would like to highlight here Mr. Kurian, who was declared the best organic farmer in Kerala state. And he has tremendous knowledge about Berkshire way and has developed some repellents for wild animals, pig, etc., monkeys. Therefore, shows that people are willing to learn if they get good, proper guidance. Again, showing the impact of on different crops. In Uttarakhand state, where the Patnagar Agricultural University is located, we shifted our headquarters there in 2019, started the work. Again, Uttarakhand state, very interesting state in that it has multi-crop, smallholder farms. They grow vegetable, they grow fruit, they grow all sorts of plants, and they have multiple farming. They have goats, they have sheep, they're raising, because 95% is hilly area, and therefore it has different challenges. But herbal Konabjal really created very good impression. Application in peach, which has had peach leaf curl problem, which has had deficiencies, nitrogen, and then micronutrient deficiencies in zinc and boron. Yields were increased about 5 to 6 times. And look at this very young lady, very happy with the produce his father got from the crops, which were applied with those Konabjal. In Patnagar, work is going on now on combination of natural and organic farming with the use of based practices. The results are very, very encouraging. You can see on the ones, the different crops are planted, and results, the response from every crop is very good. This is brinjal on the left, on the right is rice crop. There is a small farmer, must appreciate his enthusiasm, his patience, his devotion to herbal Konabjal and vermicompost that he uses, and see how much good produce he is able to take and increase his household income. This is what every country, every government would like to see, that their small farmers are able to benefit most. What actions are required? Let's go over them briefly. We need to educate first the scientific community to convince them that NF and OF are useful and they are applicable in our system. I'm not talking about the Western world. I'm talking about Asia. I'm talking about specifically about India. Kerala is a very good example where multi-cropping, small, tremendous gift of God, I should say. Quick popularization of Draksh Ayurveda traditional practices among farmers, especially which they can use in natural farming and organic farming. Role of technology transfer institutions, which is very well realize that there is a need to really streamline them and for quicker actions. Natural farming, organic farming, mix, especially good for smallholder farmers and also some middle class farmers. And for the medium farmers or large farmers, we have to look at the way to integrate the modern knowledge with the ancient knowledge and follow a holistic approach. Knowledge from Draksh Ayurveda book for developing effective biopesticides is very important. There is so much information in Draksh Ayurveda book that can be used to prepare all sorts of pesticides to meet the requirements of emerging fungal diseases, emerging insect problems, etc. One advice to the breeders is that considering the requirements of special requirements of natural farming and organic farming, they should develop or they should do testing to develop their varieties in such situations. So now they are testing in high input situation, which will not, be the same as in natural farming and organic farming situation. So they need to change their strategy of testing varieties for development. Also, there is a need, and plenty of scope to improve herbal Konabjala by adding the needed crops for high nitrogen, for potassium, for P2O5. Tremendous potential exists there. And therefore, the emphasis on research should increase. Let us propagate the use of more organic matter, because organic matter has really gone down. And their use will save inputs, fertilizer, pesticides, and which very well will meet the objectives or national goal of Indian government to save 40% of urea, which is possible if these alternative age-old tested practices are followed. Also, there is a need to have much greater attention and support from the government for research, teaching, and development on these two types of farming or mix of farming. This is very important for India and Asia. And I already mentioned about the bad example for Sri Lanka. We should not give an order that convert all the farming to organic farming, which is not going to work because they're not ready. The curriculum related to agriculture history and natural and organic farming must find a suitable place, much better place in agriculture education at the undergraduate and postgraduate level. There is a need to establish special departments of organic farming, Vriksha Ayurveda, as has been done by Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, and need to establish special centers on Vriksha Ayurveda research, training, and development. If they can have one in the US, why India can't have it? Our very strong and firm belief at this crucial juncture, we need to decide so that we can serve a very useful and desired objective of preserving our agricultural heritage. It's critical for successfully sustaining our soil and agriculture for our future generations. We have inherited the soil from our fathers, grandfathers. We must give it to our children in a better situation, but it is not happening. I studied in Pantnagar, did my BSc and MSc. At that time in my BSc, in soil scores we tested, the organic content was like 2.5%. Now, in whole of district, it is how much? It's only 0.2%. Very sad situation. And therefore, it has to be improved. There's no hesitation to emphasize as to why we should ignore anymore and take advantage of this situation. What is required is a very bold decision at the central level, government level, state level to support this kind of research to promote self-reliance among farmers, especially the smaller ones, which are the most affected. I hope I have been able to convey what I wish to convey. I will conclude that yes, we have tremendous views, tremendous potential of the ancient medieval technology, which lots of farmers in different states in India are already using. I mean, they're not waiting for the Indian Council of Agriculture Research or the government of India to come to help them. They are doing it themselves. And it's very heartening to see that some of these farmers have been recognized by government of India for honor like Padam Shri. It's very good development for a country like India, where 80% of the farmers are smallholders. Their future will lie on minimizing the cost of inputs, maximizing yields, productivity to maximize the household income. Then only they can be self-reliant, or what we call in Hindi is Atmanirbhar. Thank you very much again. I really enjoyed talking to you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for this good time. Thank you for the very informative session that we have had. What I think the country needs at the present level is proving to a marginal farmer who does not know much about the world around him about healthy, sustainable ways of farming. Sustainability becomes a problem when they try out new things. And then the economic value of making it becomes another issue, how to get the economic value. Quite a few issues that they form. Agritech Life is just a social platform trying to brainstorm such ideas. Some members are doing projects of their own in various capacities as they have. And this is a good sharing platform that we have. So thank you very much. I think since we have overshot time, can I give a 5 minutes of time for one or two questions that, a thought after, well thought questions, if a couple of people could frame. Those who would like to ask, you're open for that. Please unmute yourself and you are free to ask any questions that you would like to have.
Sir, I want to ask about Subhash Palekar in Maharashtra. Is it similar thing? Subhash Palekar.
Yes.
Subhash Palekar.
Yes, I know him.
Yeah. Is it similar one? Natural, organic, natural. Yeah, I just.
See, very good question. See, what we call as liquid biofertilizers. There are maybe about a dozen now available by different names. One thing that we always appreciate about late Dr. Nene is he was, blessed with tremendous, respect for his culture, his country. And when he read Berkshire Wade, he once told me, and learned the name Pinabjala that was used for this liquid biofertilizer prepared by Vedya Surapala from animal waste.
Doctor, you are mute, please.
Sorry, Dr. Beniwal, I think you got muted.
See, what I'm saying is that let me make this statement, and I'm responsible for himself. All the liquid biofertilizers which are being currently used in India under different names, you say Jivamrat or whatever names you have Sanjeevani, Pani, whatever name is, all of them originate in Vriksha Ayurveda by Surapala. Whether the person concerned would admit or not admit. Dr. Nene said, no, we'll not change this name Pranabjala, we'll carry it, we'll keep it, and give credit to a person who must have spent, I don't know how many years, 25, 30, 35, 40 years of his life devoting to application of Ayurveda to plants and coming up with Vriksha Ayurveda practices. Therefore, that is the problem. And I have had interactions with Mr. Subhash Palekar, and I asked him the same question: that where did you get this idea of Jivamrat? Or I even sarcastically said that I hope it's not like our Vedas that were kind of dictated by the superpowers to our Maharishis, and they wrote it. And therefore, without further going into it, I would like to say that Vriksha Ayurveda is one book that has most of answers what we are facing in agriculture, especially in India. Because our agriculture, like in Kerala, it's very different, smallholder farmers. They have a small piece of land, but they will have. I've been to Kerala twice, and sometimes I wonder why I was not born there. Such a beautiful place, good agroecology, lots of plants, different types of plants. You name it, they are there. And therefore, for such farmers, like I mentioned about Uttarakhand, lot of out-migration, what is the solution? Solution is to provide them technology, low input technology, which works, certainly, so that they will increase their household income. Then only they will be able to live there. If a farmer or some of our cooperators, if they're increasing their income 5 to 6 times, they're very happy. And this is what is required. Plus, on top of that, advise them to diversify the farming. Why only depending upon crops? Go for lots of things are now being encouraged by the government of India, state governments, to go so that their income will be increased by diversification of the not cropping system. Only crops will not help. You have to have a farming system consisting like our old traditional ancient medieval time. There will be agriculture, cow-based or animal-based. No, remember in my childhood, all the waste from animals. You have dung, you have urine, you have remains of water that they eat, and they will put out of the mange, that will be mixed, and the straw that was put as a bedding for them. So many things they were fed. Some of it will fall onto the floor, will be collected and put in the manure pit. That manure, I compare to what we now call as Chyawanprash. That was Chyawanprash for agriculture. It had everything. It had all the, I should say, majority of the 16 nutrients required, major, macro, minor. That has gone. Now, if you go around, how many animals do you see around? You see lots of animals I know in northern India, I'm from Western UP, roaming around in farmers' fields, eating their crops, because they're not of use, because there's no plowing, basic plow agriculture left. Even small farmers are renting tractors from others and plowing their land and cultivating. This is for India, and I'm from India, and I'm in my 80th year. I feel that we have to change it. If India, small farmers, marginal farmers have to survive, we have to modify it, we have to adopt what we were using, and following the modern scientific knowledge. In Berkshire, there are so many things are there, but let me tell you, there are so many things that need answers, how and why this is happening, how it is happening. And this will be found only by the scientists. So therefore, as I emphasized, there is a need to establish special centers, establish special departments. Curriculum has been now modified. And foundation, Dr. Nene, the great soul, it took him like 80 years to convince ICR to introduce at least a course on agriculture heritage of India to the undergraduate students in agriculture. ICR took 8 to 10 years to introduce it, maybe even more. This is not good, because somebody has to realize and ensure that we have to follow things now which are good for our farmers. Mr. Roy Thomas, I would like to just make a comment on, I learned, the Agritech life transformation crop, this one, which I delivered today. It is this kind of ancient medieval wisdom that can transform, let me put it in your own language, that can transform the lives of smallholder marginal farmers. If you want to transform their life for better, you have no option. You have to follow it because they are being exploited. The trader who sells seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, his recommendation is 1 kilo per hectare. He gives them 3 kilos because he's making profit, and farmer is following it. And this is very bad. We have observed Western UP in a crop like sugarcane, which is very high input crop, very high input. That's why the sugarcane farmers are often complaining that we are not enjoying it because we are not getting the expected profits. How can they get? Because they will not get, because the cost of inputs is so high, which offsets the productivity, which offsets the income. Unless we will have to make attempts to blend the modern recommended practices with the old ones, things will not happen. Things are changing now in Western UP. Now farmers are following green manuring. After wheat, they will put green manure, then plant rice. And mulching, very important.
मैं अभी अपने मकान में हूँ इधर.
Please. Sorry. Somebody wanted to say, or Mr. Thomas, any other questions, comments?
I think we can take one more question for a quick answer. Would anybody like to have one last question?
Dr. Beniwal, thank you. This is Sam from Delhi.
Okay.
I keep going to Uttarakhand because we have a farmer producer company towards Bageshwar, Kapkot, that area.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes I come to your university also.
Please.
And meet Dr. Jain Singh, who is incidentally my classmate also.
Yeah.
So the challenge which we are facing right now is about certification. Because in the first phase, we have some 250 plus farmers.
Yes.
The average land holding may be somewhere around 1.1 acre or something. Not much, all are marginal farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And a majority of them are not located in one pocket or one cluster.
Yes, I understand.
That is another challenge. Unless and until each one of them, the nearby farmers also gather together. But then the certification process, I think Uttarakhand Organic Board is helping out.
Yes.
There are 2 types of certification there. So now, can you dwell on something on certification also? Because without that, the commercial aspect gets defeated. Without certification, nobody will give the value for the crop what is required.
Yeah. You raised a very pertinent point. It's one of the most important points. And also there is marketing issue, as you know. The farmers are being exploited, especially those who are raising organic produce. They are so frustrated sometimes that they say, what is the use? I'm getting same price as the poisonous produce that farmers are producing. Now, I know the organic board in Uttarakhand. I know the person heading that department.
Yes.
I very strongly believe, and I will at my level pursue with Pantnagar Agriculture University, which has mandate for Uttarakhand.
Correct.
Some universities in India have come forward to develop at least a system or help the pertinent organization responsible to develop a system which will ensure certification of their organic produce.
Correct.
They have a stamp, yes, this is organic.
Yes.
Very good example I can cite you is in tea. tea sector is highly organized in this. Of course, because it's private, and they're, rich, big
Yes.
gardeners, and they have big lobby, and they have resources, European,
Correct.
because our experience in Darjeeling, was eye-opening.
Yes.
Because see how much difference it has made. When we went, if I may cite, the University of North Bengal, Agriculture University, we had a workshop seminar in 2008. And we, Dr. Nene, as he was, very keen that we help them develop a master's program or a diploma program in organic tea cultivation.
Right.
University, which was very good, but somehow, those professors, all, different leaning, was not convinced. Nothing happened. So this gentleman that I showed the photograph of, Mr. Vijay Pramar, was very helpful because he was heading 13 tea gardens. He was the chief advisor to these 13 gardens belonging to a company. So he said, forget them. I will carry
Yes.
this information, and I will ask my managers to validate it, to try it. And this is how things started. And when this tea dieback disease came, the Toklai research station, they raised their hands. So again, me and Dr. Nene went to identify what it is. And we identified it. And then again, the magical answer is the Ayurveda based concoctions. If you want to do organic farming, you go to that. I have a colleague,
Okay.
our headquarters. My colleague who is secretary, executive secretary. She is professor of agronomy. I do other things, deal with farmers and this and that. She does the research.
Okay.
And the slides of the natural farming, the mixed natural organic farming, those slides are from that work. And this is what is required. You
Excellent.
mentioned about certification. The organic board has to be very proactive. It's a problem, big problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew the agriculture minister earlier.
Yes.
So I met him a couple of times, and I used to tell him, sir, you are telling we'll make Uttarakhand organic in 10 years. So I asked him, do you have a magical stick? And this is why I intentionally mentioned about Sri Lanka. Don't look before you leap.
Correct.
Otherwise, it will be disaster. Be prepared for it.
Absolutely.
They declared 10 blocks as organic. And my colleague pleaded that give us a project. We carried nice project. Give us a project and support us because we are a non-profit organization. And he said, yes, we will do that. But nothing happened. Nothing happened from
Yes.
the state government. So this has to change. Maybe if the university administration, the director of research, and they would consider this because this is a major issue.
Yes.
Also, if the farmers, person like you, would also come and raise. We're going to have a farmers fair, farmers mela, as we call it, in October. Come at that time with your colleagues.
Sure. I will.
And raise your voice in the general discussion in the auditorium.
Absolutely.
They
Sir,
are the platforms.
Another area which we are facing difficulty is soil testing. There are no soil testing lab in 100-kilometer range in any of that area. Either we have to come to Pantnagar or go somewhere else.
See, let me get your name again.
Sam Thomas.
Sorry?
Sam Thomas.
Sam Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas, Sam, We have another Thomas, Mr. Sam Thomas. The best way I know is raise your voice
Yes,
peacefully,
correct.
patiently. Bring, your colleagues. People will listen because your concern is very genuine.
Mm,
No, Uttarakhand has no future for organic farming if they cannot place a system.
yes,
They cannot place a system in place. Where is the
correct.
future? If farmers cannot, we organized a workshop in 2019 August on this part only for all the districts, 13
Yes,
districts of Uttarakhand.
correct.
And I point blank asked, what are your problems of organic farming? Because there were 5 or 6 farmers who said, sir, we are doing organic farming for the last 5-6 years. I said, what is the problem? Problem ये है that we are not able to get sufficient yields.
Correct.
I said, that's not the problem.
Research backup nahi hai na, sir.
I don't see
Research,
that as a problem.
yeah,
But because they didn't have available these, liquid biofertilizers, which are very good fermented ones,
yes,
multifarious actions they have.
correct. Yes.
And I will stop here because
Sir, can I have your contact number? Can you put it in the chat box?
certainly 8937
89.
I'll do one thing, sir. I think I'll post it in
Chat
our
box,
group.
sir.
Yeah.
I'll post his contact in our group, in Agritech group, so the members can access that
Okay.
and connect with him. Sir, thank you for the lively talk and the interaction. I bet if I give time, we may continue the discussion till 10 o'clock also. It's so interesting.
Very good.
Our Agritech group has members from across India. From people, those who attended now are right from Assam and Eastern India, West India, Central India, right up from Kerala, where I am situated. So, and most of them are into various socio agri ventures and related fields with a social perspective in it. So, your talk was very.
One suggestion, Mr. Thomas, is that we have our man, Mr. Gidesh. He is a agriculture officer in the Ministry of Agriculture. He is at yeah. And he is the force behind the work that was started from 2016 and which is still going on full steam. I'm not future because I'm in my 80th year. I have had some health problems for the last couple of years, which slowed me down. But I tell you that some of these people who are working very, very nicely, they're very devoted. I mentioned to you, and same is with my colleague, trustee and past chairman, Mr. Chaudhary, Dr. S. Chaudhary. He's also getting elderly, not old, but therefore.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we will try. We will in fact try to get them also, for talks.
I can send you his, contact number, WhatsApp number. Very, very. And I myself plan to visit in the near future. So when I come, I can, inform you also. You can join us. See, very good piece of work which is being done. And
we will keep informed, sir. So, sir, I think with that, I will keep everybody informed. So with that, I think we'll try to take, we'll try to take a break now. Thank you very much, Dr. Beniwal, for this encouraging, enriching, and very interesting talk. Also, a word of thanks to Dr. Sunita Pandey, who has been consistently for 2 months connecting, with whom I connected. She was the one who could help me get through to you.
Thank you.
For the knowledge of Agritech members, Dr. Beniwal was in US till 2-3 weeks back. He came back, he had COVID. He was down on bed. But thank you, amidst all that, you took the pain, sir, to get up, make this presentation and be with us. That is why we extended our presentation by 1 week, which was supposed to be last Monday. Right. And the rest of your team, thank you, everybody. Thanks once again to all members who are present here. We would like to conclude with a word of prayer. Reverend Joy Matthew, are you present?
Sorry,
So
Roy, there will be concluding remarks from Brother Varghese.
I apologize. I apologize. I just missed that. Yes, yeah, a few concluding remarks. For that, I call upon Brother Varghese.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for missing that.
yeah. Thank you. I think you already told much of what has already wanted to be told today. So I don't think there is much yet to tell. But anyway, yes, this has indeed been an enlightening talk. Actually, in the pilot project of Agritech, which we are doing in Rampur block of UP, in the Alpha project, there also, yes, the main person, Dr. Ranjan, believes in organic farming. So, sir, I think, yes, we'll be certainly getting back to you on this Vriksha Ayurveda and other things, because, yeah, one thing is very clear. Actually, in Kerala, where I was in the agriculture department, there are so many marginal farmers, everybody just having 10 cents and 25, 35. So, so I was thinking in UP, they have much more land. That's the way you see it. But then when we got in touch with the farmers there, we found that they also have only 10 cents and 35 cents. So the farmers are also looking for cost effective ways, cheaper ways, and things which are sustainable. So in what you said about these things, I think, yes, it does meet those requirements. So I think, yeah, it is something we certainly need to take up. And yes, I think should be a big help to us in the agriculture sector. Yeah, thank you so much for that talk.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm passing it back to you, Brother Roy.
Thank you, Varghese sir, for your short and specific words. Once again, thank you to everybody. I call upon Reverend Joy Matthew to conclude with a word of prayer.
Let us pray. God, our loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening. Thank you, Lord, for bringing us in this manner so that we could first have short devotion and then speak and learn elaborately on agriculture. Thank you for the life and service of Dr. Beniwal and his team. Thank you for all what people in our group are doing for the promotion of agriculture. Bless each one of us so that we may be able to promote agriculture and make a small garden of Eden wherever we are living for our people, our churches, our society, our community. Let our people be blessed through the initiatives of the members of Agritech Group. Thank you, Lord, for being with us. Thank you, Lord, for enabling us. Help us, Lord, that we may continue to do all what we can to promote agriculture and related services. We praise you and thank you this evening. Thank you for hearing our prayers. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
So once again, thank you everybody, Dr. Beniwal and team, and all members of Agritech, all the invitees of Dr. Beniwal who were there today with us. We are very grateful that you joined Agritech Live. We are also privileged to have you for this day. And I will pass on the details of Dr. Beniwal's contact as well as the website of AAHF, Asian Agri History Association, the details of that as well to the Agritech Live group. So all those who want to know more about that, please read through the website. It's interesting. I did all that 2 months back before connecting with Dr. Beniwal and his team. Yeah, henceforth, I think, sir, our members would have a very fruitful interaction with you as days go by. Your learning will be very valuable to us. So thank you once again very much to everybody and a very good night to all.